Welcome to the Old Time Radio Westerns. I'm your host, Andrew Rhines, and before we get into this episode, I wanted to remind you to check out our other Western podcasts released daily by going to otrwesterns.com or searching OTR Westerns in your podcast app of choice. I also wanted to invite you to check out our other podcast channel releasing non-Western shows by going to otnetcast.com or by searching OT Netcast in your podcast app of choice. Now let's get into this episode. This episode is going to be The Lone Ranger, originally aired date September 17th, 1945, and the title is Camel Brigade. Hope you enjoy.
Horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty "Hail Silver!" The Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. The stories of his strength and courage, his daring and resourcefulness have come down to us through the generations. And nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
One Silver! Let's go, big fellow! Hail Silver! Hi!
Here is one of the strangest of all stories in the consolidation of America. The details have for nearly a century been buried in obscure publications and government reports. It's a story of the Camel Brigade, which blazed a trail from San Antonio, Texas, to California. In 1850, the Army in southwestern forts was in constant combat with Indians. The Mexican War and the discovery of gold in California focused attention on the new frontier. High officials in Washington became aware of the acute problem of supply. Jefferson Davis, the Secretary of War, considered the problem of desert transportation and spent years investigating the use of camels as a solution. Then made his recommendation to President Pierce.
Washington, December the 1st, 1853.
I therefore urge congressional action in the interest of camel importation for military purposes, for expresses, and for reconnaissance. It is believed.
Congress was not moved to action at that time.
Washington, December 1854.
I again invite attention to the advantages to be anticipated from the use of dromedaries for military and other purposes. For reasons set forth in my last report.
A bill passed in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. An expedition spent many months in Malta, Smyrna, Constantinople, Egypt, Tunisia, and other places where the ungainly beast could be purchased. Several shiploads were finally unloaded at Indianola, Texas, a small port about 120 miles south of Galveston. The Army set up a permanent camp northwest of San Antonio and conducted extensive experiments in the use of the camel.
Washington, March 1857. The Secretary of War has commissioned Edward Fitzgerald Beale to open up a wagon road to Southern California and to use camels in the expedition.
The trek of the Camel Brigade is history. It's the background of this adventure of the Lone Ranger. A masked man rode hard across the open country near San Antonio.
Come on, Silver!
It was the Lone Ranger. In his pocket, he carried a confidential message that had come from Washington. It was a message that called for prompt action, one that had to be shared with Tonto at the earliest possible moment.
Oh, Silver, oh, easy. Steady, big fella.
You see Padre at mission, Kimosabe?
Yes, Tonto. And I wish I'd seen the Padre several days ago.
What matter?
He's been holding a message for us. A special messenger brought it all the way from Washington.
Who message from?
The man who's called on us before. Tonto, we've been asked to help our government.
Oh, and what we do?
Do you know anything about an army post northwest of San Antonio?
Green Valley, Kimosabe?
Yes, it's called Camp Verde.
Indian tell plenty story about Green Valley. Plenty evil spirit there. Plenty bad medicine. Indian afraid.
You've heard about the camels in that camp?
Me hear plenty story from Indian.
Some of those camels are going to be driven from San Antonio to California.
Oh, that not good. Maybe make plenty trouble.
Yes, Lieutenant Beale is trying to find drivers. Even if he's successful, he'll have a lot more trouble.
Who make more trouble?
Well, the authorities in Washington don't know. They do, however, know that powerful interests are fighting the camel experiment.
Oh.
Might be the steamship lines, stage or express lines, or even the mule freighters. All of these may lose business if Beale proves that camels can successfully carry freight.
And what we do?
Our job is to fight the forces that oppose Lieutenant Beale and his Camel Brigade. All right, break camp, Tonto. We're going to San Antonio.
And there I was with the whole county dependent on me to drive them mules. Give me another little drink, Joe.
Sure.
The whole county, mind you.
Pardon me.
What you do, soldier?
Did I hear you say you could handle mules?
Can I handle mules? Joe, tell him about me.
My name's Blake, Sergeant Blake from Camp Verde.
Glad to know you, Blake. My name's Martin. They all call me Thunder on account of the way I can rip her up when I got some cantankerous long ears.
Had much experience?
Don't get him started.
You want to hear?
Yes, if you don't mind.
He don't.
Soldier, you're looking at the best mule skinner and bronc buster in the whole world. Mules or horses. Drive 'em or ride 'em, I can do it. I can drive 'em anywhere in any weather and make 'em like it. As for sitting 'em, they can high roll, sunfish, crawfish, jackknife, pinwheel, or break in two, and I'll stay on board fanning the critters.
Ever handle anything but mules and horses?
I've handled everything. Mules, horses, oxes, steers, goats. Well, just plain everything.
How about camels?
If the animal walks on 4 legs, he'll go where I say, when I say so. What's camels?
Haven't you heard about the camels at Camp Verde?
Oh, he just got in from the South Country.
I ain't up on things around here.
The Army's looking for drivers to take a camel train to California.
Soldier, I'll drive for the Army.
Good. I'll count on you.
We'll drink to it. Here's regards.
What's the matter, Thunder?
Oh,
Thunder, you sick?
Joe, I guess I better not drink no more. I'm seeing awful things.
Where?
Out that window. I seem to see a great big animal, high as a house. A big hump on his back and a most awful-looking face. He's staring right at me. Joe, go get Doc Haynes. Tell him I'm a-seeing things that can't be.
You're not seeing things, Thunder. I brought that beast to town with me.
Huh?
That's one of our camels.
You mean Them's what I'm to handle?
Unless you're afraid to tackle the job.
Well, I ain't a scared soldier, but that's a mighty high seat.
Come on, Kelsey. We'll ask the barkeep.
We ain't come to town for nothing.
Well, what'll it be?
If your sign don't lie, this is a $Silver Cafe.
That sign don't lie.
We're to meet Mr. Larson. Where's he?
What's your name?
Baxter.
Go straight back through that door at the rear. Larson's in there.
Well, Sergeant, I don't like the looks of that critter, but I think I'm going to take a chance.
Hello, boys. Come in.
Larson, we came for some cash. You got it?
I have it. But sit down. I want to talk to you.
Put the cash on the table where we can see it.
All right. There you are.
Thanks. Divvy later, Kelsey. By the way, Larson, who's paying us?
Well, I'm paying you.
Whose money?
Maybe it's supplied by a steamship company.
Yeah?
Maybe not. Maybe one of the stage lines fears the success of the Camel experiment.
Uh-huh.
Which is it? Stage line or a steamship
But
company?
might be neither. You see, a number of outfits carry freight to California. If the Camel freight experiment proves successful, they'll all suffer a decline in business.
So one of them's laying out cash to block the experiment. Is that it?
Any complaint about your pay?
Nope.
It was pretty easy money, wasn't it?
Easy nothing.
Larson, we had to run big risks. Had to steal some uniforms. And then we had to sneak up on the Turk and Arab drivers and teach them that the Army was something to get away from.
I'm interested in results.
And we got results. Every one of them drivers ran away. The Army can't move camels without drivers.
The Army has hired mule skinners to drive the camels.
Is that so?
How would you like to earn another $1,000?
How?
Well, listen to this. The Indians in Red Star's tribe have already made considerable trouble. Get them to ambush the camels between Camp Verde and town. If the camels are killed off, the expedition will end before it starts.
Wonder how we could manage it.
The Indians are superstitious about the camels. They think they're bad medicine, filled with evil spirits.
The Devil's Gap between here and Camp Verde would make a slick place for an ambush.
Now, wait.
I'm getting an idea. If we could just get a hold of one of them camels.
There's one here in town. Seen alongside the cafe.
Yeah?
Still there. Look out that window.
Wait a minute.
Who's that soldier? Do you know, Larson?
That's Sergeant Blake. He's recruiting drivers.
It looks like he's got one. Showing the camel to that big hombre out there. Be going back to camp, won't he?
I suppose so. Why?
Maybe he won't get there. Maybe be waylaid by... by Indians. I think I know where we'll get the Campbell to carry out my plans. Come on, Kelsey.
Oh, not that way, Baxter. Use this door. I don't want the soldier to see us.
Why is that bell tied to his neck, Sergeant?
The camels all wore bells on the desert, so we left them on.
Can you really ride that critter?
Sure thing. You'll learn soon after you reach our camp. Pack your things and join us as soon as possible.
I'll be there.
Hutchie!
Hey, he's getting down on his knees.
That's how we board a camel.
Gosh, that face up close is even worse. It puts me in mind of my old sidekick. His name was Ferguson. Could I scratch the critter's nose?
Go ahead.
Aye, there, old homely. You like that? Maybe I should call you Ferguson. How'd that be? Hey, Sarge, he's right friendly. Hey, we'll get along, won't we, Ferguson? You know, I had a goat one time. He liked eating tobacco. Maybe you'd like a chaw plug, Here, Ferguson, try this, eh? Hey, Sarge, he took the whole plug. Look at him chaw tobacco.
They like
it. We'll get along, Ferguson. Yes, sirree.
Well, Thunder, I'll get going. I'll be looking for you.
I'll see you, Sergeant.
Howdy. Adios.
Goodbye.
Easter!
A few miles northwest of San Antonio, two men crouched behind huge boulders alongside the trail.
He's coming, Baxter. He's just rounded the bend.
I'm ready for him. You be set with your gun in case I miss with this Indian air.
Yeah. He gets set. He's coming close. You got him.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now, to continue our story. The Lone Ranger and Tonto guided their horses in an easy lope toward San Antonio. They were but a few miles from town when something on the plain ahead caught and held their attention. They saw a horse at ground hitch. Nearby, a big man knelt beside the motionless form of a soldier. An arrow stood out from the soldier's chest.
Oh, Silver, easy, steady, big fella.
Get off them horses before I comb your hair with this 6-gun.
Easy, big fella. Is that soldier dead?
He is, and I'm in a fighting mood. I aim to find the sidewinders that killed them and collect enough of their hide to make a saddle cover. You're both covered, so don't slap leather.
Well, take off the war paint. We didn't kill him.
I'll decide about that. I'm looking for a combination that uses engine airs and wears white man's boots. Move over there and let me see how your boot marks compare with them next to the sergeant.
You can see that Tonto doesn't use a bow.
That's far enough.
Those tracks are larger than mine and smaller than yours.
Yeah. Maybe you ain't the right ones. Who are you? What's that mash mean?
Look over there. Two men rode out from behind those rocks.
Yeah.
One of them dismounted right here. Let's see if we can find tracks of the other. Come over here, Tonto. We'll see what we can find in back of the rocks.
That way, fella, wait in ambush.
Here are some footprints.
Give my eye teeth to nail the coyote.
Plenty footprint here. Two men hide.
One of them must have been an Indian.
No, that's not right. Neither one Indian.
Both men wore boots and rode horses that were shod. I'm going to examine the dead soldier.
I made sure the poor critter was past helping.
Who are you?
Me? I'm Thunder Martin. I made a deal with that soldier to drive camels for the army.
Thunder Martin, huh? Tonto, this arrow was made by Red Star's tribe.
Red Star's outfit has made plenty of trouble. It'd be a good thing if the army taught him a lesson.
That wouldn't find the real killers. Soldiers must be brought here to see those footprints.
One of you get the soldiers. I got other things to do.
You'll have to go, Thunder. Tonto's an Indian, and I wear a mask. The army might suspect a trick if one of us went to the camp.
You ain't giving me orders, mister. I'm still holding a gun.
Put it away before you get hurt.
Well, if all the... Now, wait.
Big fella. You'll hear from us.
Get him up, Scout.
Come on, Silver.
At first, the tracks of the camel and the horses of the murderers were easy to follow, but the trail soon became more difficult on rocky ground. Tonto and the masked man made slow progress. It was sunset when they reached a shallow stream of water.
Oh, Silver.
Fella. Tracks go into water, Kimasabi, and not come out on far side.
The killers probably rode in the stream to hide the trail.
Maybe go upstream, maybe go down.
And they can travel miles in either direction without leaving the water. Tonto, we may have to follow both banks of this creek in both directions before we find the trail.
Take plenty long time.
We'll have to do the best we can before it gets dark.
Why fellers steal Camel?
If we knew the motive, we might be able to find the murderers without following the trail.
Why feller use arrow to kill?
I suppose he wanted to fix the blame on the Indians.
Oh, that it.
The Indian village is upstream. That's where we'd go if we suspected the Indians.
We not suspect Indian.
So we'll search downstream. Now, you follow this bank, Tonto, and I'll take the other. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto rode slowly downstream, watching for the trail. Darkness halted the search, making necessary a camp for the night. Several miles upstream, the Indian village slept. Baxter and Kelsey crouched in a weedy tangle, watching the dark wigwams in the clearing. They waited for the moon to sink below the horizon.
This is the part I don't like.
You got that hair we cut off the camel?
2 pockets full of it.
Give me a handful.
Oh, there goes the moon.
Now follow me and keep quiet.
The son of Red Star, the strongest man in the tribe, slept the deep sleep of the hunter. He didn't stir as 2 shadowy figures crept into his wigwam. He didn't stir when Baxter's exploring fingers lightly brushed his shoulder and felt of his hair. Baxter's hand raised, holding a heavy stone, then fell.
Got him. Now, don't forget to leave some of that fur from the camel.
I won't.
Take his feet. We carry him to the cave.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto were awake before day. They made a quick breakfast, then prepared to continue their search with the first light of dawn. While the masked man packed the blankets, Tonto washed the frying pan in the running stream. He saw something curious near the shore. He reached down, picked it from the water, then shouted,
Kimasabi, come quick.
What is it, Tonto?
Me find this on water. It caught in rock. Stream wash it down.
What did you find?
This hair. You take good look.
Tonto, this is hair from a camel.
That right? And it come downstream.
Then we've been going in the wrong direction.
Ah.
Come on, Tonto. That camel is upstream. The men who murdered the soldier are probably there. Steady, Silver.
All things not packed.
Never mind, steady. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Soon after sunrise, Red Star learned that the wigwam of his son was empty. The Indians were quick to note the curious hair on the wigwam's floor. Tufts of the same hair were caught on the entrance. At the edge of the stream, a few yards from the entrance to a cave, Baxter and Kelsey watched the chief and several of his men approaching.
You ain't got any of that camel hair in your pockets, have you?
No. I threw what's left into the stream.
Good. Wouldn't be safe to let those redskins catch you with any of it.
Here they come.
Time for me to start talking. Chief Red Star.
Oh, you.
Red Star, I came to get help from you. There's evil spirits working around here. And one of them's right there inside that cave.
Cave? We go see.
Come on, Kelsey. There's the evil spirit coming out, Red Star.
Yochima! Yochima!
Why, there's a man on the ground.
Him son! Him Yochima! Kalatume! Yo!
Now, wait a minute, Red Star.
Who you? Where come from?
Red Star, I came to ask you and your people to help. These evil spirits have been making all kinds of trouble. Now one of them's got your son.
Me kill you.
No. I can tell you where the braves can kill all the evil spirits.
Where? You tell.
They're all going to come through the Devil's Pass sometime today.
Indian get revenge. All spirit die. Kulame! Jada Kulame! Song Baken!
Where are they going?
Call all brave to fight. Ride hard. Go Devil's Pass. Wait there. Kill all evil spirit.
Good for you. Will your arrows kill these things?
Arrows kill buffalo. Me show how arrow kill bad medicine. Me show right now.
Yeah. Get that critter for killing your son.
Me kill...
Hold it. Hey,
I want you.
Oh,
man. Red Star, get him.
Get him, Tonto. I'll take this one.
Me get him. You not get Red Star.
I'll help you, Tonto.
No, me not need help.
Tonto, you've knocked Red Star out. Get some water. We've got to bring him to. He thinks the camels are evil spirits. He thinks the spirits killed his son. He's given orders for an ambush at Devil's Pass. He's got to cancel those orders.
Too late now. You hear war cries?
Beale's bringing all the camels through the pass. They'll be wiped out if he's not warned.
Indian already in saddle. We not get past to reach Beale.
And there's just one thing to do. Those 3 men must go with us. Tie them to the back of that camel.
Devil's Pass was a narrow trail bounded on one side by a perpendicular wall. A rocky hill studded with huge boulders rose steeply from the other side of the trail.
Oh, Silver, easy, steady, big fella.
The Lone Ranger reined up at the top of the hill, closely followed by Tonto leading the camel with Kelsey, Baxter, and Red Star tied to its back.
Oh, Scott. Oh, fella. Oh, fella. Oh, there.
Here, Tonto, I'll give you a hand. Bring the camel back to this rock.
Get me off of this critter. Let me down.
What are you going to do with this?
You're going to stay where you are until the army takes over.
This far enough?
Yes, Tonto. Did you notice the Indians on the hill below?
Me see 'em. Plenty Indian. All hide back a rock. Them not see us yet.
They're watching the entrance to the gap. Look where they're looking.
Plenty camel there.
The camels are leading. The soldiers are far to the rear.
And what we do?
We're going to open fire on the Indians.
No, don't. They'll attack us if you do. Don't.
Quiet, Kelsey, quiet. Keep back of the rock as much as possible, Tonto. Both your guns ready?
I'm ready.
And start firing.
Cries of surprise came from the Indians as bullets from the rear crashed against the rocks. They turned toward the attackers on the ridge and shot arrow after arrow at them.
Keep the horses back of this rock. Don't show yourself, Tonto. Just keep firing. You on that camel. Keep your heads down.
Indian get horse.
They'll attack, Tonto. We can't hold them long, so do the best we can.
The masked man knew it was but a matter of seconds when the savages would charge up the hill. But even as the Redskins mounted, the caravan at the entrance to the gap had halted. Beale had heard the gunfire. He'd seen the Indians driven from their hiding place. A bugle sounded. The Lone Ranger felt a thrill of exultation. No matter what happened, his mission was accomplished. The ambush had failed. The caravan would not be taken by surprise. Before the Indians could begin their attack, many rifles spoke. Bullets streaked from the trail. Behind those bullets came a hard-riding, charging army.
I never seen Redskins skedaddle up a hill and out of sight like those critters done. By hang, Mr. Beale, I'm sure glad to get Ferguson back.
Yes, Thunder, I know.
It was that masked man that saved us. If he hadn't showed the Redskins up, they'd have got us for sure.
Mr. Beale, I don't think you'll have much trouble getting confessions from those killers. Kelsey had little courage.
We'll get confessions.
I brought Red Star so he could hear the confessions. Then he'll change his mind about the identity of evil spirits.
Speaking of identity, sir.
I prefer to remain masked.
Now, hold on, mister. Don't ride off and leave us.
Before I leave, I want to give you this, Mr. Beale. I think this will serve to identify me.
A bullet?
Yes.
A silver bullet.
Easy, big fella. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Hail, Silver! Hoy!
The Lone Ranger thought there might be further trouble before the caravan reached California. He would have been sure of it if he could have heard Larson mutter,
"A lot can happen before those camels reach the trail's end. A lot will happen."
Be sure to tune in the next broadcast of the Lone Ranger for the second part of the strange adventure of the Camel Brigade. The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
This has been a presentation of OTRWesterns.com, and we hope you enjoyed. Please take some time to like and rate our shows in your favorite podcast application. Follow us on Facebook by going to OTRWesterns.com/Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to OTRWesterns.com/YouTube. And send us an email, podcast@OTRWesterns.com. You can call and leave us a voicemail, 707-986-8739. This episode is copyright under the Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike copyright. For more information, go to OTRWesterns.com/copyright. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.